Welcome to our tutorial about preamplifiers, also known in short as preamps. In this tutorial, we're going to learn what a preamp is, why they're important, and we'll also review some of the types and brands of preamps on the market. Your mixer or audio interface has direct line inputs as well as preamped inputs. If you put a microphone signal into a direct line input, the recording levels would be really low or inaudible. You need a preamp to boost the signal from a microphone or instrument to what's called line level. The mic jacks on your audio interface have built-in preamps to boost the signal. However, having a dedicated preamp box can improve the quality of all of your input dramatically. It's a must if you're recording vocals or acoustic instruments. Preamp inputs built into audio interfaces aren't of the same quality as a dedicated preamp box generally. Many dedicated preamps take a single channel strip of an expensive board and provide you that one single high-quality input for use. It might come with a compressor, a limiter, an expander, EQ knobs, etc., and using these well while recording your input can make an enormous difference in the quality of your work. Preamps vary widely in price and quality. Different preamps have different flavors, so it's a good idea to test them out with your music genre before you settle on one. Professional studios use different preamps for different inputs. Some work best on drums, some on vocals, some on violin, etc. There's some inexpensive preamps, a couple $100s or less, and these will boost your signal but usually don't offer the other channel strip features and they can bring in a bit of hiss. Once you cross the couple $1,000 range, there's a lot to choose from and the quality becomes a matter of taste and musical preference. I tried an $800 preamp and couldn't hear the difference between it and my $3,000 preamp, but it could be that I didn't tap the full potential of the pricier unit with my recording needs. First, let's talk about the two different types of technologies used in preamps. There are vacuum tubes and solid-state transistors. These technologies differ in the way that they process the electrical signal that's generated by the source microphone or instrument. A lot of people state that vacuum tube preamps give a sound a warmth that is more similar to analog recording. Tubes give a darker sound, probably because they're stronger in the lows and mids than in solid state, and higher quality tubes can give a silky sound. Solid states sound more open and less colored than tubes. I prefer a solid state on my vocals to give the extra airiness. Whichever preamp you choose, don't count on it alone to make you sound good. It'll boost your signal, but you'll still need to do all the groundwork to have decent studio acoustics, good musicians and good takes, and singing or playing in tune. If you're on a tight budget, try the Presonus Tube Pre. It's about $100 new, and it gets pretty decent reviews. It's small and portable. I used one until I bought a Millennia. The Presonus helped boost the vocals. However, for my style of singing, I do need a compressor on the input, especially for recording high-frequency vocals and violins with a high-frequency roll-off to get rid of some sibilance and hiss. So I did outgrow the Presonus Tube Pre pretty quickly. Plus, I prefer the sound of high-frequency recordings on the solid-state Pre and not a tube. However, I still use it when I'm recording on the road. The Presonus Eureka has a compressor, EQ, and many other features. It's open, transparent, and present, and it's really good with vocals and acoustic instruments mic'd up close. This is a top-of-the-line all-purpose preamp which is said to rival the prestigious Avalon VT Series for less money. If you buy these used, they'll give you the best value and quality for under $1,000. Be careful to check whether you need a mono or stereo input. You need to make sure that the preamp you buy has the number of inputs that you need. Another type of preamp is from Focusrite. The Trackmaster Pro has pretty good user reviews, costs about $300, and gives you a compressor and a 3-band EQ. It's a good lower price option if you want some channel controls. Groov Tubes has a preamp called the Brick, which is about $400 new. It's what's called an all-tube pre. Groov Tubes puts out products of excellent quality that tend to be lower in price than the major competitors, UA and Focusrite. It does not have a compressor, but it is more portable than a larger preamp, making it good for stage and roadwork. Universal Audio is one of the leaders in preamp technology, and their products tend to be a bit pricier for this reason. The 610 is a budget version of the 6176, but it doesn't have a compressor or parametric EQ. However, it is small and portable. The 6176 is a full channel strip with a compressor, parametric EQ, and a mono preamp section. There's also a stereo version. The sound is dark, and it lends a smoothness that might be good for your style of work. This one's in the couple $1,000 range. Here's the Drummer 1960. It's an all-tube pre and sells at a great price used, close to about $3,000. It's got 2 channels, EQ, compression, and a direct input for instruments, too. The Avalon VT Series is for those interested in spending more than $2,000 on a pre. The VT Series are tube pre's with compression and EQ. Again, check out the sound before you spend so much money. You might find that you don't notice any difference between this and a less expensive Presonus, depending on your musical style and needs. Generally, home studio musicians can spend their money in better places than on a really expensive preamp. Again, it depends on the kind of music, etc. In addition to these brands, there's some vintage products out there. Now watch out for these because vintage gear uses older, noisy components that can negatively impact the quality of your recording. You might prefer some of the newer equivalents of classic models like the Vintech products based on vintage Neves that are reputed for giving a thick, warm, and fat tone. Ultimately, you need to choose the right preamp for your sound and your budget. So try as many as you can and let your ears be the guide, not the price tag. This concludes our tutorial about preamplifiers. In our next lesson, we'll be talking about cables and connectors.